Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead.
Guys, I don't need to be here. I mean, Sally's gone to bed, and if she comes back, she'll sit there. But I mean, to the extent that you want to ask me something or say something, fine. If you don't want to say fuck it, I don't give a fuck, really. Now, the meatheads that listen to this shit on YouTube like to hear the incongruent dribble that comes out of your mouth. So if you have any questions that you haven't asked me before, now's the time. But if you don't, I'll guzzle this down quickly and I'll be in bed. Yes, sir.
Imagine if everyone in the world, imagine what the world would be like if everybody wanted to go out and shit down their necks. The world would be so much different.
Little, I used to say to my mother, Mom, why isn't everybody like me? And she used to say, thank God everybody's not like you. And when I was in school and the nuns, the priests, and my first wife, and even Sally, why isn't everybody like me? Why is it so difficult for people to understand? And all the aforementioned said, Dan, by the grace of Allah, everybody's not like you. Because there's takers, there's pleasers, there's winners, and there's losers. Most of you fall into 3 of those categories, which is not winners. And it's not going to happen. You're a young guy, and 50 years from now, it's not, the world composition of the demographics will not change much. And I assure you, and I can guarantee that there's not going to be, the water's not going to be 30 feet higher and that kind of shit. So, whoever, if there's a higher power, and I believe in higher power, decided that we're going to struggle for, on our own. But as far as I can tell, dating back, centuries, there's always been winners and losers, and there's less winners than there are losers. In feudal times, you were born into being a winner. And then sooner or later, you had your fiefdom taken away from you if you didn't perform. Even though we just celebrated the passing of Queen Elizabeth, which I mourned genuinely, the competition is less and less and less. And you don't have the competition. And that's why the QLA model has been so goddamn successful. Has been so successful. Oh, chivalry's not dead. I'm glad. The frog got up, thank you, and so did the old man. Okay. Oh my God, see, and I shamed another one. But pretty much chivalry is dead. And I'm sure the ladies know that better than I. Okay, so getting back to your question, they're not. I thought 50, 40, 30 years ago that the world would change, and it hasn't. I.e., there's nobody teaching what I'm teaching, and the kids seem to be getting richer and richer, and unfortunately, the rest of the world, for the most part, is getting poorer and poorer. It's not going to change in your lifetimes. It's not going to change in your lifetimes. Now, is that right or wrong? I'm not here to justify. I think everybody should have enough money to live. In this country, they're having to, whether you heat or eat. A guy with a 1,000-pound pension, when his gas bill is 1,400 pounds a month, he's fucked. And they have some of that in this country. But the UK and Europe are in a hydrocarbon conundrum because they fucked up. 15, 20 years ago, they had the opportunity to hedge their hydrocarbons. Hedging hydrocarbons costs between 6 and 12%, depending on when you hedge them. Nobody hedged them because they didn't want to pay that 6 to 12%. Now, the populace is fucked. We, by accident, at this castle, hedged, not by accident, because we have, other than myself, we have some people that are reasonably bright. 18, 20 months ago, we had an opportunity to hedge our gas and electric contracts. And we did. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't even say anything. So even though our prices have gone up, but they've only gone up 8 or 10 or 12%. So instead of 3,500 pounds a month, they're only 4,100 pounds a month to put heat in this place. Most of the governments in the EU have made short-term solutions for long-term problems. You've heard me say that a jillion times. Because it's not popular if you're in elected office. I assume that maybe I'll get elected once and maybe twice, but I'm going to bring to the forefront hard decisions. When we had our 2 focus groups, if you can call them that, at Guthrie Village, everybody wanted things to get better, but nobody was willing to sacrifice a goddamn thing. And I said, I can bring £1 billion to Angus County. Now, I should have said 100 million pounds because it was so overwhelming they couldn't relate to £1 billion. Okay? But I said £1 billion and I meant it. They can't relate to that. And the rich people in this county don't want any change. And the challenge is the poor people aren't really that poor here. It's not like the slums. We don't have like slums here. So to get them to change, they're either going to vote for me because they want change. I need 17,000 votes. And right now, as I've said ad nauseum, 98% of the social media is positive, but it could change. But guys, this is your market. Somebody's going to get super rich, not just in this county, but around the world. Why not us? I keep saying it. Why not us? Some people that come to the seminar engage in such self-sabotaging activities because they don't think they deserve to be any better off than they are. You know, if I'd said that, I'd still be in the barrio from East LA. I obviously didn't say that. A few of you in this room have been from poverty. Not as poverty-stricken as a lot of people, but you know the difference between, being not having enough money. Now, see, most of you in this room don't have enough money to do luxury things. Everybody in this room has enough money to eat. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. And when I talk to the university kids, they can't even relate. I said during the seminar, Elon Musk has got a great comment. Well, loan kids in student debt $100,000, but we won't give them a business loan for $10,000. That's not right. That's ass backwards. And Elon has put the foot up the butt of a lot of various things, aerospace, oil and gas industry. But you can, and I'm not trying to say make it. You can make a difference, really, even though. And so I'm living vicariously through you. And we've got, of the thousands of people that I've trained, we've got, 10, 20 people that have really made a difference. I didn't train them to make a difference, but I've always said, go out and make $1 jillion, and they're going to take that $1 jillion and make a difference. But history tells me, many of you in this room that might want to make a difference, as soon as you make a lot of money, you'll forget your brothers. I'm on board. Pull up the gangplank. And and that's, I don't think that's a shitty thing myself. But if you stand on the basis of you want to save the world, when you get rich, you should use the money to save the world. But because money changes you, and for those of you that have a few bucks, and for all of you that aspire to have a lot more bucks, you say, well, I'll be different. It's not going to change me that way. I'm here to tell you, after 50 years in business and 30 years coaching you meatheads, the first $1 million you make isn't going to be to go save starving kids. It's to buy 20 new suits, 5 new hookers, a fucking penthouse apartment. Yeah, yes, young man. But you're not going to, the first few bucks you make is not going to be save starving people. I've been doing this a long time and I've never seen the first bucks that you make to go save starving people. Never. I've never seen it. He's a fucking Egyptian, so he doesn't know any better.
But does it actually change people, or does it reveal their true nature?
Amen. It reveals your true nature. All the guys are whoremongers. A stiff dick has no conscience. Full stop. Whether you're black, blue, yellow, or purple. A stiff dick has no fucking conscience. You would fuck a snake if you held his head still. That's life. Women are less, a lot less. The real decent human beings are mostly female. I'm 77 and I've seen a lot of shit. These eyes have seen. And that's just the way it is. And many of you use, well, I shouldn't have snorted that last line of cocaine. But if that's your disposition and if that's your DNA and genome, what coke and alcohol did is just release your inhibitions. You're a piece of shit. And that's it. So get used to it. Get used to it. Other question. Uh-oh.
If I may, my daughter.
Jawohl, mein Herr.
She's
I'm talking to you.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, my daughter, 5 months old, from here to the age of 7. What
God
do I
bless
do
her.
to build up self-esteem?
Buy the book by Dr. Spock.
I got it.
Okay, self-esteem is built the first 7 or 8 years. And by the time they're 7 or 8, as I've said before, you can hardly find a kid that's not laughing and giggling unless they've got poop in their pants. And then after 8, 9, 10 years, they get worn down by the shitty parents. And then by the time they're 12, 13, even though we blame it on hormones when kids get in teenage, it's not hormones. The parents have worn them down after 12, 13 years, and they're fucked. For those of you that have, and I've said this a zillion times, for those of you that have kids older than 8, 9, unless they're really immature kids, like I was, I mean, their disposition, their plot in life is set. Basically, they're fucked. Very few kids will come back and try to resurrect themselves and come to something like this. Very few. Although we have, I've got a big following of teenagers, but those are the anomalies. But you're already the anomalies of adults. People, I know several of you already told me, they told you you're crazy, you shouldn't come, blah, 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 okay? But, I would consider the source of the people that are telling you this. But I've been called a lunatic for a long, long time. But now I'm an eccentric lunatic that has been extremely successful. Yes, sir.
What made you believe in the higher power in general? What was your
Because I was
changing
raised
moment?
a staunch Catholic by a staunch Catholic mom, and not just because we lived 2.5 blocks from the church. And I just was, I believed in God. I wanted to be a priest when I was young. I used teach catechism and Bible study and all that shit. I don't mean to, I call everything shit, so I don't mean it that way. And, and I was raised in what I call old time religion, where the habit the nuns used to smack you. And I deserved every smack I got. I'm not blaming them. And my mom and my grandma told me that, you're going to go to hell. And I believe that. Okay. Now I'm an adult, 77 years old. And, when I turned 60, I got more philanthropic. Sally and I got more philanthropic. And we believe. And some of the regrets, I had a chance to meet the Pope 25, 30 years ago, and I didn't. I was too fucking busy fucking around, and I can't even imagine the thought process that was going through me when I did Governor Hugh Carey, devout Catholic. Come to Rome with me, Dan, and we'll meet the Pope. And I was too busy. I was too important. I was too, and wrongfully. But so I was a believer, and I still am a believer, And I'm still pissed they broke my fucking rosary yesterday. security guys that I've had since I'm 5, 6 years old. So now I'm checking or have my crack Snapchat. Now I know the spirituality isn't broken just because the rosary is broken, but how do we put it back together? You know, so do we take it to a church or whatever?
A jeweler.
Pardon?
A jeweler.
Yeah, well, but I mean, I've had the damn thing since I'm 6, and now some dipshit electrician fucking broke it. That electrician's lucky I wasn't there when it happened, because I told Sally, who did it? Well, there was 5 guys there. Who? Because I might do something I might be sorry for, but I just am. I believe, although I've never seen him, her, or it come to the ceiling. But it's the same. You heard Thomas. You've heard these guys. If you have faith, I'm not telling you to give up that faith, but if you transfer a portion of it, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, some of the kids, as you've heard, have transferred, hopefully not all of the faith, but they're fucking psychos. And the psychos have made most of the money. I mean, those are the facts. And you saw one in person here. You were blessed to that you actually saw him. A kid that used to, give away Bibles door to door. That's a bitch. And as he said, having doors slammed in his face every day. But that's how, several other of the Hall of Famers are, Bible thumpers like that. Other question? Yes, sir.
So, what's most important in life, and what are you proud of most?
I'm proud of what I've done with you kids. I say, and I mean it, my wife, my 3 kids, and Corona Rona are the 5 best things that happened in my life. But I appreciate, and I know more than most, the lives I've changed. But I hate to relate it to just money, but money changed millions of lives. Not everybody used money properly. I'd like to say that everybody did the right thing with their money. I know better than that. I've seen the ugly things that some of my devotees have done, but I'm proudest of that. And and I'm going to do my very best to stay healthy and do this as long as I can. But as I said earlier, I'm going to tape, 5 or 6 seminars from the beginning to the end when I pack it in and put them online so everybody sees what they think is the secret sauce. But it's still not going to be the ambiance and nuances of me in person. And we're going to tape things like this from the beginning to the end. But I've influenced a lot, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. We've built these missions and convents, etc., for the Catholic Church. And I'm proud of that. And I would have liked to have met Mother Teresa, now Saint Teresa, and some of my mentees have. But again, I judged incorrectly, and I was too fucking busy, and I didn't do it. And of course, now she's gone. When I come back as something else, if I'm reincarnated, I'll make sure to make, I go see the Pope, and I go see Saint Teresa, or whoever is the Saint Teresa at the time. But I've lived a full life. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff. All of which almost I'm proud of. I'm not proud of everything I've done. And when the BAFTA lady asked me, is there anything that, that you would not want to share? And I said, no. I'm an open book. I want everybody to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because I'm not afraid of that. Now, my ugly stuff isn't as ugly as a lot of guys. That doesn't make me feel any better. But, and that's why the kids in my flock, I understand they're making bad mistakes. Because I made mistakes. A lot of bad ones. And again, my parents, especially my father, only had one goal. We got to keep Danny alive until he reaches the age of reason. Not go to university, not do this, not get out of high school. And I tested that almost every day because I did a lot of crazy shit. I've already told you about some of it. And I'm not proud of all of it, but it's me. I'm not going to hide it.